Hey everybody, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains of North Carolina, and tonight it's time for part 2, the President Walker 2 FCC edition. That's the US edition. It's time to take a look at this thing on the bench, see what it can do. I've got it hooked up to the Antron A99, 21 years old, still trucking along, but not a lot of skip today, not a lot of skip. Anyway, I figured I'd go ahead and knock this out. I've been waiting for the right opportunity to do so, and it is time. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on. And you can see I've already been playing with it. Got the color changed already, but I'll go through all the functions and stuff. First off, right off the bat, I'm really digging this. This is like the brightest LED light for a meter I think I've ever seen. I really like that super bright white. So, you know, usually these are kind of like a dim yellow, but I noticed this thing stands out really well even at night. And we'll just go down the list right here. Of course, back over here, I showed you in part 1, we do have a USB plug in here. It's a 5-volt 2.1 amp, so you can charge a phone or GPS or whatever you need to off of that. Let me go ahead and set the squelch. Now this thing does have your volume control here, but it also has that automatic squelch control. And like I've said, I think with pretty much every President radio that I've reviewed, of all the squelch controls that I have seen over the years, all the different ways that they try to, like, oh, you know, what was it, the sound tracker from Cobra, and there's a couple other, you know, proprietary ideas or proprietary ways of going about squelching. The automatic squelch control on these Presidents works so much better than all those, so I've been really happy with that. You move it slightly off of that, and you can see the little light up there. I don't know, yeah, you can see that. Oh, in fact, I'll zoom in a little bit here. Hope you're enjoying this video. It's one of these new 4K videos that you'll be seeing on my channel more often now. Yeah, that looks nice, and that's a little closer anyway. So you do have the automatic squelch, comes up on the sign there if you pull that off. There you go. And of course you can set your squelch manually as well, so there is that feature there. Now we do have right here this button right above it. Well, that's your weather channel, so let's see if, look at that, maxing out the schedule too there. That's nice. Alright, yeah, we're calling for snow. So your weather channels are available. We do have CB and PA mode, although I don't have a PA hooked up right now. And again, I don't know if it shows up. It's a pretty small one, but it actually does switch between PA and CB, so that's kind of cool there. This is where I'm going to get back to that. I want emergency 1, emergency 2, and off. I'm going to get back to that one. We'll go back to that in here a second. And then over here we have noise cut and our noise blanker and ANL. So it does offer those features as well. Again, just ways of getting rid of that, lowering that noise floor, getting rid of static. So if your truck or car or whatever you put your radio into has some issues with picking up, you know, engine static or whatnot, it does of course have that. And now let's go back over to here, because check this out. What's that? Huh. Well, that, my friends, is RF power. This thing actually has dial-a-watt. This is pretty unique feature that you don't see on many radios at all. It's usually an add-on function. And what exactly is dial-a-watt or RF power, max and min? Well, I'll tell you, it is if you were going to hook this thing to an amplifier, you would want to dial back the wattage down to, say, 1 watt so that you don't overdrive your amplifier. Now, amplifiers are illegal here in the United States, but elsewhere in the world they certainly are legal. And, well, this would be a great way, without having to have this radio modified by anybody, for this thing to hook up to an amp. Say, you know, you could go as low as one of those little RM35 Stingers all the way up to some monstrosity out there, you know, throws a kilowatt downrange. But I really like that feature. I think more radios should come with that feature. Even though I don't personally use amps, I know a lot of people out there are. Let's be honest here, if we're going to be honest for a minute, especially your truck drivers, probably using Stinger boards at the very least. So this is a great opportunity for them not to have to pay the golden screwdriver at their local shop there to make some adjustments that may or may not be good adjustments. So really kudos to President for adding that feature in there. I think that's pretty cool. Our last dial over here, we have our mic gain on the inside here and the RF gain on the outside. And that's also nice if you want to cut a larger power. You can see the meter rolling back and forth as I move that. So that's kind of cool. Then we have Vox, which is really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a radio, you know, a old school radio or old school looking radio that came with a Vox option, but that is pretty cool. Obviously, I don't have a setup to play with it, but I do have the stock mic here, and I do like the fact that we have the ability to change channels right on there. So it's a pretty nice microphone there. I like that. And it says, very nice, President. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. It's a little smaller, I think, than what I'm used to, like a, I think like a Cobra mic that is a little larger, but it actually feels really good in the hand, and it's easy to get your fingers on there, so don't have to take your eyes off the road. I always like that. Okay, so here's where things get really cool. So of course, this part here, if you're looking at this radio as a vintage radio, is like, Cobra 29, that vintage look, the look with the chrome faceplate, although this is more of like a brushed aluminum look to it. You're going to have your dial and your meter. But if we look carefully here, there's a lot going on. This is bigger, this isn't just some LED readout. This is a digital display. It does give us our megahertz for all the individual channels. It tells us our channel number. And then, of course, it does also show us when we add features to it. If I go to PA, that you can see it's going from PA, between PA and AM. And if I were to switch to emergency, it shows that, and it shows the frequency changing. So it does offer some extra features there. Also, when the weather channel comes on, showing emergency. So again, pretty cool stuff there. So, okay, so this is going to change channels, but this is also kind of like our function button. And what's interesting about the Walker is it uses the microphone to help with that too. So I'm going to go ahead and press down on this, and as I press and hold here, there we go. I can change the colors. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go with that. We'll start with color. So your back display, you have all these different choices here. I'm going to try it. Okay, this is where I wanted to start because I want to go back to emergency. So emergency 2, channel 19, right? How about emergency 1? What if I wanted to put that, I'm going to press and hold this for 6 seconds and it will beep. Hopefully. There we go. And what I want to do is, who's using channel 9 anymore? No one. So why don't I make that our local channel, and I'll just press it again. Okay, so now when I go back here, if I want to change back and see, look, instead of channel 9, now my emergency 1 is set to 14 and emergency 2 is set to 19. So that's kind of cool. I actually dreamed or asked or thought about asking or may have mentioned in other videos that should have been something that all manufacturers are doing. Channel 9 just is not monitored anymore here in the United States, and it may be elsewhere, but in this part of the world anyway, that's a useless button, that 919 button. 19 still gets a lot of use, but 9 is pretty well dead. So if I could change that, if I could program that to anything, which the President Walker allows me to do, well, that's a gold. So I like that a lot. So let me go ahead and press this again, hold down for a few seconds. There we go. And if I want to change, so I've got dimmer here, I can use the mic here and I can just run through. Do I want my Roger beep on or off? I'm going to press and hold. And I'm going to say, yeah, I want my Roger beep on because I'm cool. That's why. I know so many of you out there do not like the Roger beep, but I am totally into it. So Roger beep is on. There we go. There's a little Roger beep. Now let me go back into the menu. And we'll show key beep. Do I want to have the key beep on or off? Well, that kind of does bother me, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. One of the big complaints some of the early Unit in 980s got was that people couldn't get rid of that key beep, and it drove them crazy. So there's an opportunity there for you. Color-wise, they got all the colors. I love that. Got that. That's kind of nice. I think it matches this as well. It's kind of like a light blue. Then you got your cool purple, you got green, you got a darker blue, which also goes well with that LED lighting. You got your really dark blue, and you got your green. I like the green, it's pretty cool too. But I'm gonna, maybe I'll try to make it something y'all can read easy. You know what, I'm down with purple for a while. Let's go with that. Okay, what else we got here? Let's go see. Key beep, Roger beep is on. Tone, yeah, this thing allows you to change the tone. So if you were to mount this like I'm considering doing, is putting this as an in-dash. It is a DIN-sized radio, and even though the speaker fires on the bottom, it certainly would fit in there. So my options there, it does have a PA and an external speaker hookup, so I could hook an external speaker up to it. But if I wanted to put this in the car, I could put it in and have it in the DIN, and if it was muffled, I could change the tone here. Oops, go back to that. And I could make it, more tinny or more bassy depending on what I wanted to do. So that's a cool feature. Again, a lot of companies just never think about stuff like that, but I actually like a little bit of bass in there, so I'll go ahead with that. I just think that's cool that they're going through that stuff. So then we have dimmer. If you're driving at night, you want this thing to be a little lower. I've got it turned all the way up just because it's easier for me to see, but I can change it. Again, I'm using the microphone to change these. You can see, I could turn dimmer, you know. Oh, let me go back in there. I pressed the wrong button there. Yeah, I could turn this thing. You can actually turn it all the way off. Check this out. So that's pretty low, and then that's it. It's off. It just says off, but bring it back up. I'll leave it. I'll set it at number 6 just for the rest of this, so you can see what it does here. Now let's see what else we got. We got emergency channels. We've gone through that. And then we have SWR. I'm kind of curious on this one. It's been a while since I've checked the SWR on the old Antron. For all I know, it's about to blow up. So not good. The old Antron. Well, you know, it is raining outside, so maybe that's the problem there. But it was registering a 2. Certainly not the best numbers you're going to get out of that old girl. But you know what? I guess after 21 years, you're allowed to slip a little bit out of alignment, right? Anyway, let's see what else we got here. I think that might wrap it up. Okay, so the last few functions. Now that we've realized that the old Antron's starting to show some age. Let me go back in here. We have SWR, which we've just gone through. We have mic. Now, I'm not going to mess with this, but you can, if you want to use a different style of microphone, this thing actually allows you to use 2 different styles of mics. I think that's kind of a cool function. And then lastly, we have our PA. Again, it's allowing you to adjust modulation on your microphone to make the PA sound as good as possible. Not going to mess with that one either. So that's pretty cool. And then there is also a reset button for everything. You reset it all. Now, one thing that may not be showing up well on the video here is that this and this and this are backlit, and they also change with this. So there's a blue light, or a purple, I guess, right now, lights that light up for these as well, which I think is kind of a nice touch. Okay, lastly, I wanted to talk about this part. You've got all these other buttons we've gone over, but I do have talkback, which is really nice. So press the button, you can see I turned it off. There we go, turn it on. And we can also, when I have the talkback, oh, let me see here. There we go, turn that on. I can make the talkback level much higher or lower depending on the echo level. And there's some other presidents that have that feature, which is kind of nice. I do like the fact that they offer that. When you think about the fact that this radio comes stock with talkback, stock with variable power, and stock with a Roger beep, and stock with weather band, I mean, those are, well, scratch weather band because you couldn't add it, but you think about the old Cobra 29 and how much money you'd have to spend to get those 3 options added in, you know, if you took it to the local radio shop and had them add talkback and module or variable RF and a Roger beep. That's a good amount of change you're going to be paying there. So I think that's really cool that President includes that in pretty much a very nice, compact, modern radio. So I don't think there's any skip rolling. I don't think there's any local traffic. It's kind of an interesting time of day to be doing this, but let's see what we got here. Break channel, break channel. Break channel, break channel. Yeah, if Super Bowl's dead, it must be no skip today. So I guess I'll wrap it up at that. There's one last look at that mic. I love the up down on that. Go ahead and shut her down here. That is it. That is the President Walker summed up in one beautiful short video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, if you haven't seen part 1, the unboxing video, it shows you the manual and all the stuff that comes with it. There's nice brackets and power cord and all that good stuff as well. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. And once again, thank you to the President Corporation for being so kind as to send me this to check out. I like it. It's going in one of my trucks. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a great radio. I think it's really got a lot of modern features packed in a pretty small frame. It reminds me more of like a Cobra 25 in size, but it certainly has features that you would want to have in pretty much all modern radios. That is it for tonight. If you liked the video, perhaps you'll think about liking and subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Take care.
There's always something that needs a little fixing on Farpoint Farms. sweet. Liberty sows its seed at far